You know me, SDMT. Let's get it, baby. Big news right here, man. The NFL announced that we adding a 17th game. That's big right there for this upcoming season, man. I don't like it, not one bit. 17th game, these players' safety, players' health is crucial. And the NFL always act like they care about that, but adding another game where you can risk more damage, you can risk, more long-term injuries. It's just definitely, it's not necessary. And you know what I mean? Alvin Kamara came out and he said, this shit is goofy as hell. You know what I'm saying? Straight up, you know what I mean? It's real when you look at it, especially for running backs. You're in a league that tries to, stop paying you as much money, the more wear and tear you have on the tires. So as for a running back, the more games, they're going to use that against you when it comes to, negotiations. So this definitely doesn't hurt the running backs. And a lot of people that are fans are like, oh, I love a 17th game. It's great. It's great. Yeah, I love football just as much as the next person. But if you're smart and you think about it, you can understand that most of the good teams by that time, they're going to have their spot in the playoffs locked up, and they're not going to be playing their starting players. You know how to be. And they got one of the last games. I think it's Mahomes and A-Rod. You know what I mean? The last game of the game and 17th game of the season. And odds are those players both won't be playing that day. You know what I mean? Just because, you want to hurt your star players going into the playoffs. And even the bad teams, we got to look at it as, if you're on a bad team, you're going to be playing your best players in the 17th game, risking injury for next year. You know what I mean? So it's one of those situations. It may end up being a backup game and like a preseason game. So a lot of people, oh my gosh, another football game. Yeah, there may be some good games, but it is kind of like that on regular NFL weekends as well. But we really look at it when it comes to player safety and just overall, is this a good move? I would say no. You know what I mean? Overall, you know what I mean? They want to add more playoff games, add more playoff teams. That's cool. Those games matter the most. But another season game, especially 17, is such a weird number. You know what I mean? 16 kind of fits perfect. But 17 teams may not, you'd have to tie a game to go 500. You know what I mean? So it's a weird situation. You can tell the league is going to be pushing towards 18 games. They just start off with the 17th now, and maybe a year or two they get to 18. But this drastically is going to have to change a lot of these things. You know what I mean? They're going to have to add more players to the roster so they can have more backups, because we look at this last season with all the injuries. You know what I mean? Adding another game just may take more of a toll. You know what I mean? So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for a lot of positions, especially defensive players, running backs. Some receivers, quarterbacks, you can't touch them, so they'll be fine most of the time, especially if you're Tom Brady. But when we look at it, the NFL is making a lot of these different kind of gimmicky ways to make more money, and it's all about money. This isn't about anything else. They took this to CBS that they signed a 10-year agreement with the players. And they took this thing that they were to add 17 games to the CBS, and they got this huge $10 billion deal, which each team ended up getting like $300 million in revenue. And that's huge, you know what I mean? So we got to look at that. This is a big money grab for the NFL, and a lot of people always want to complain, oh my gosh, these players make too much money. It's nothing compared to what these owners make and what these owners are banking. You know what I mean? So we got to look at it, and with real lives and true vision. There's a lot of, closet racist people that, they don't like to see black athletes get paid. So they want to play the communist game and say, what about the teachers and military? Well, in capitalism, you know what I mean? Those people, those professions are paid through the government, through the systems. Billionaires are not going to be giving millions of dollars to the army and the teachers. And you know what I mean? If you try to tell them to do that, they're going to laugh at you. You know what I mean? They pay these players so they can make way more money off of them. And in this, capitalism society, the more rare you are, the more money you can demand, the more valuable you are. So only less than 1% of, of our population can play in the NFL, NBA, or so on. So that's why these players are so valuable. So when you're hating on the players, you have to hate on the owners, because they really have way more money. A lot of them are sitting on it or using it to control politics or do a lot of other different things. So, I think a lot of you guys know that you stick slick, you try to, play a little communist game, and at the same time calling other people communist. You make no sense. You know what I mean? You really need to look that word up, using it, just not using it properly. But we truly look at it. these owners are definitely taking advantage of the situation. They really don't care about player health. We saw that with CTE. So when we look at the whole situation, this is definitely a money grab for the owners, and it may take a toll on the players. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't be too against it if they were going to give the players a bigger part of the pie. You know what I mean? Of that revenue pie. But these owners are going to take all that money. They're going to make all that money. So at the end of the day, this is going to be rough on the players, rough on the teams. I think this will take a few years to adapt. But at the end of the day, this is it's football. It's a new rule change. We gotta roll with it. We gotta adapt, and maybe week 17 will be lit, and I'll be wrong. You know what I mean? And all the stars will be playing. But I just think there'll be like a few teams battling in the playoffs. There'll be a lot of bad teams. Maybe they'll try to tank for the NFL draft as well. So I don't think it's going to be that much quality football in week 17. When it gets to the playoffs, obviously you're going to have that quality playoffs, but I would have rather had another playoff game or some situation instead of another regular season game, because it's just unnecessary and it's going to take its toll health-wise. And the NFL definitely keeps proving that they really don't care about player health. You know what I mean? So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on my notifications. I'm out on SDMT.